Red Spiral is an abstract tile placement and manipulation game for one player. It takes 30 seconds to set up and 15 minutes to play. At the start of the game, place the body tile face up in the center of your play area. Shuffle the black and white backed clock tiles without looking at them. Then arrange 20 of them around the body tile as shown. This is the city. Set aside the remaining clock tiles in a face-down stack and draw your starting hand of 3 from the top of it. Shuffle the 12 trenchcoat tiles and arrange them outside the perimeter of the city, as shown. Your player pawn starts the game atop the body tile in the center of the city, and it can move along the tile's red streets. Play a clock tile from your hand orthogonally adjacent to the body tile to allow your pawn to continue along the line that it's on. When your player pawn returns to the body tile, whether by the same street or by a different one, it may again move along any of the 8 streets that lead away from the tile's center. Each clock tile has 4 lines connecting 8 points, 2 along each edge. Streets may cross one another, but your pawn moves continuously along them, forward or backward, changing direction as you like. You cannot jump from one street to another unless the tile your pawn is on spirals, as explained later, or you return to the body tile. You may never play a tile on top of another tile, and tiles in play never move except to spiral. When your pawn encounters an empty space within the perimeter of the city, play a clock tile from your hand, placing it in front of your pawn to continue the 2 streets on that side of the tile. Then draw another from the stack to replace it. When you have no more clock tiles in your hand, the game immediately ends. Clock tiles may only be played within the circular perimeter of the city, as shown in red. When your pawn encounters a face-down clock tile, flip it over. Depending on what type of tile it is, it will have a particular game effect. Whenever you play a clock tile from your hand, or turn one face up, you may orient it however you like. Once you do, that tile remains in that same orientation until it is spiraled. There are 5 types of clock tiles in the game: spiral, hunter, murder, memory, and power. When you turn a spiral tile face up, any face-up tiles indicated in red in the circle in the center of that tile spiral. Rotate each of them in the direction and to the degree indicated by the red arrow. When you turn a hunter tile face up, place a red hunter pawn in the center of the tile indicated in red, determined by the orientation you choose. Your player pawn may not enter a tile that has a hunter pawn on it. Murder tiles can contribute to your guilt and/or to your innocence, depending on where the evidence leads. When you turn a memory tile or a power tile face up, add an extra tile to your hand from the stack or the discard stack, respectively. When your player pawn reaches a trenchcoat tile, flip that tile face up. There are 2 types of trenchcoat tiles in the game: mirror and dagger. Mirror tiles represent evidence that you are the murderer. For each street that leads from a mirror tile to the body tile, you receive 1 point of guilt at the end of the game. Dagger tiles represent evidence that someone else is the murderer. For each street that leads from a dagger tile to the body tile, you remove 1 point of guilt at the end of the game. You may discard a tile from your hand to spiral the clock tile that your player pawn occupies. When you have no more clock tiles in your hand, the game ends immediately. You receive 1 point of guilt at the end of the game for each trenchcoat tile that remains face down, as well as for each street that leads from a mirror tile to the body tile. You remove 1 point of guilt for each street that leads from a dagger tile to the body tile. If a street passes through a murder tile, it counts as 1 additional street for adding and/or removing guilt at the end of the game. If you have no guilt at the end of the game, you win. And that's Red Spiral. Thanks for watching.